Live and direct from the Territorial Defense Forces Media Studios in Kyiv, and it is a packed show today. We are going to be talking about a lot of different activity along the front lines, but make sure to retweet, share, and bookmark this show and subscribe to our YouTube channels and Instagram, especially because you will not want to miss the end of the show where we will be addressing the recent Russian attacks by propagandists on our fact-based media program. First, though, we will discuss Deputy Defense Minister Hanna of the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense and her report this morning that came out just before midday, where she brought us sobering but real news from the Kupiansk direction. In Kupiansk, or at least the area of Kupiansk, the Russians are attempting to break through our defensive lines. What this has done is created a situation where positions are swapping between both the Russian Federation forces and the defense forces of Ukraine several times a day. And although our Ukrainian troops are under intense attack, we have given up no territory. Moving to the east to Bakhmut direction, again, it is tremendous fighting taking place in the areas of Bakhmut. And despite an intense battle for the heights around Klishivka area, we have held our positions there as well. Moving south, going down into Pritunya, we have extremely positive news. We are advancing in several directions in that area of the south, led by General Tarnaskyy and the Taurian group, who reported just after 2 p.m. today that more than 240 Russian troops were either killed, captured, or wounded, with almost 100 of them killed in action. The Taurian group has led a tremendous charge, and we can report that over 40,000 square kilometers of Ukraine has been liberated since the beginning of the full-scale invasion. And what does 40,000 square kilometers actually mean? It means a square footage or square kilometers larger than the country of Moldova, almost 2 Israels, or 15 Moscows. And speaking of Moscow, and I want everyone to take a moment to retweet this program right now. Speaking of Moscows, the explosion that happened there today at the Pyotr fireworks factory, which was actually a front for munitions. Again, Russia wanted us to believe it was fireworks. There were some reports that it was an optical area. However, we have reports on the ground that 152 millimeter artillery shells were found in the debris. Well, in wasting no time to solve the crime, FSB has arrested the Russian director of the Pyotr fireworks and munitions factory. However, let there be no doubt that he was not responsible for it, but in fact, the ingenuity and technology of Ukraine was most definitely behind this return of the war to Russia and to Moscow Oblast. So whatever 15 times Moscow equates to, there's not going to be much of it left after the armed forces of Ukraine are finished inflicting tremendous damage to our neighbors to the north. Moving over to local news, we can report that the SBU, State Security Services, has arrested a former regional deputy on suspicion of laundering more than 500 million hryvnia. What does that mean? In US dollars, it means $13 million are suspected of having flown through the regional deputy's hands, and he has now been arrested. Furthermore, a judge who was arrested for drunk driving charges and vehicular manslaughter of a National Guardsman has been remanded to custody as well until the end of August. The crackdown on corruption continues unabated here in Ukraine, where the rule of law is paramount to both winning this war of liberty and liberation against the Russians, as well as winning the future for democracy. Speaking of democracy, and again, this is why I've asked you to make certain to bookmark and share this program today. Yesterday, I was the front page news on RT. I was discussed by Skabeva and Soloveyov. They all wanted to cast aspersions at the truth. The truth is they peddle propaganda and fake news on behalf of Vladimir Putin. a terrorist leader and war criminal who does nothing but run a criminal cabal. So they wanted to focus on the fact that I was doing my job as a spokesperson for the armed forces of Ukraine and that I knew information before others did. And they also wanted to attack the fact that I was making a joke. Jokes aren't something that's allowed, I guess, in Russia. I was suggesting that Russian troops were nothing more than cardboard cutouts. Why? Because Russian troops who are around these parts are cardboard cutouts. I don't know if you've noticed that, but it's become a recurring theme. So to ask my guest on stage with me today, do you have any response? No, he doesn't, because he's a cardboard cutout. And yet RT wants to act as though this guy is the ghost of Moscow, or the ghost of Rostov-on-Don, or the ghost of Belgorod. I don't know. I don't know what goes through the minds of the Russians. All I know is that I don't want Ruski Mir coming to Ukraine or anywhere else. I don't have Russophobia. I have Ruski Mirophobia. And I also have fun messing around with cardboard cutouts. So ultimately, thank you for joining us. This is Sergeant Sarah Ashton Cirillo reminding you to keep our troops, sailors, and soldiers in your prayers, and that God is protecting Ukraine. Truth and liberty every day. Slava Ukraini. Until tomorrow.